Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. We are recognizing women in construction, and today we have Krystal Daughtery with Acumen. Krystal, thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much, Lori.
So let's just start right off the bat. What is your position?
I am the order to cash manager for Acuren. And so it's really exciting and interesting because my history has been predominantly just credit and collections management. And now I get to widen my scope of responsibility. So I was really excited to join them last summer. And so I'm in charge of overseeing billing, but in a very different loose sense. We have decentralized billers all throughout the States and Canada. And so I'm not overseeing the day-to-day and I'm not overseeing those people, but they want me to be the filter that hears all of the feedback from all of those, 70 different sites to say, what are the common struggles that we're seeing? And then giving recommendations of, hey, I think we should change our process in this direction. I do have direct oversight over the rest of the job, which would just be the credit management piece, collections, and then cash application. And so while I have experience with cash application, I was never responsible for running the team. And so that's a little bit different in this particular role. And so far has been the biggest challenge that I wasn't anticipating, but I always love a challenge. And so it's been fun to have to use my brain in a different way and come up with solutions and troubleshoot with the team to figure out, like, let's try something new and see if it works. And I'm really blessed to work for a company that lets us do that. So that's the other cool part about it is they're very much embracing of that entrepreneurial spirit of, hey, if you think it's going to work, then let's try it and see what happens. So that's it in a nutshell, but it's a lot.
Yeah, but it sounds like your every day is not monotonous, that you actually get to do different things.
Oh, for sure. Yes. That no day is the same.
How long have you been in the construction industry?
Almost my entire career, going on 20 years.
What drew you to the construction industry?
The need for a paycheck. My story of getting into construction really stemmed from the fact of family needs. I relocated to Seattle where my sister was living, and she was a single mom who had adopted 3 children. And she called me up and said, my nanny just quit. You're doing nothing. I'm going to need you to come up here. And so I came up. I was her nanny because my sister is an amazing person. And she said, just come be my nanny until I finish out my school. So I was her nanny for a couple of months. And as soon as she finished her schooling, I said, great, time to get a job. And she was the one who actually found the job posting for me and emailed in my resume because I didn't have internet access. And it was through a temp agency. And I really, really lucked out. The person who hired me in, she had gone through a bunch of people who had credit and collections experience, but they came with bad habits.
Yeah.
And what she found was it was too hard to change the bad habit. And so she wanted to start with a fresh slate, and she was looking for people who were teachable. And she saw that in me, and I was a sponge and soaked it all up. And I really think that it had a lot to do with my ability to achieve within the organization. That, and I was also very willing to be agile and relocate for good career opportunities within the organization that I was with. So that is how I got into construction. And I didn't leave just because I liked it. So many people are going to kill me. I like tracking lead laws or deadlines. And like, I like setting up my own spreadsheets of this is the day that I'm going to contact the customer. This is when I will escalate it and contact the GC. This is when I will contact the property owner, and go down the list. I'm like, I'm calling everyone. So that piece of it that layered in always had like this extra heightened sense of importance almost, that from my perspective, other industries didn't have, and just kind of made it more of a, you just come in and punch clock and you do what you do. And this one's like, oh my goodness, what's happening here? I need to make some phone calls. I need to go visit some people and just really gave me that shot of adrenaline of like, whoo, it's time to get working and collect this money.
It sounds like I'm talking to myself. I mean, you either love construction or you don't. And I always say people that leave construction to try something else, they always come back.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's hard to be a woman in construction?
I don't find it hard, but I definitely say there are obstacles that the male counterpart does not face. I'll share one story, and this might be a little tangent, but I worked with a woman who was really firm in her beliefs of there needs to be equality. And so, like, one of the things that she went and put her, stuck her neck out for, which is weird to even say that she would have to do this and stick her neck out for, was when we would get company branded clothes. They were always men's. And she was like, great, I'm a woman, so order me a women's small. And they're like, oh yeah, but we have to do bulk buys. And so we would have 50 smalls. And she's like, that sounds like a really difficult problem for the company. But also, I'll take my small in my women's cut, right? And so I think that's the kind of stuff of like, it's so ingrained in the in the fabric of society that it's hard to really ever pinpoint and say like, oh, this was blatantly because I was a woman that this happened.
What do you think construction industry could do to attract more women?
I think that one of the complexities of the gender question is really the fact of, even though we want equality, it doesn't mean that we don't acknowledge there are differences. I think that being more visible, the women that are here, advocating for other women is also a big, huge thing. We all can achieve the things that we want. It's figuring out what we want. For instance, I know all of my sales cohorts, they belong to an organization for young adults within the construction industry. And they have monthly places where they go do a happy hour. And it's always a charitable aspect to it where it's, come bring a can of canned food or whatever it is. And then it gets put up, on their social media of, hey, we came in, we all got to hang out and cut loose a little bit. And it makes you feel like, oh, hey, when's the next one? Because I want to go, right? Like, I know that person. Let's, I know someone there. Let's go hang out. So I think visibility is the way that we're going to get more women into construction.
So is there anything you would want to say to somebody that is currently looking into a career in credit management, specifically within construction?
I would say, go for it. First of all, it's fun. And one of the things that I really love about the credit space is how collaborative it is. Whether you work for a company that has multiple credit teams, everyone is always willing to help each other. Or if you work for an organization where you're the only credit person, there are people within the credit industry that are so generous with their time to help you through something. I know that I have people within my network where it's like, hey, I know nothing about trade insurance or credit insurance or whatever we call it, but I probably know 3 people that I could ask, like, do you have experience here? And they would absolutely give me an hour of their time to, give me the highlights and the lowlights and give me some recommendations of some vendors to call. And so that's where I think credit is awesome because we're not loyal. We don't have singular loyalty to the company that we're working for. We're absolutely loyal to our companies, but we also want to support other credit people and have that knowledge transfer, because we know there's going to come a time where I'm going to be faced with a situation that I've never experienced, and I'm going to need to call a lifeline.
Well, on that note, congratulations on being a 2024 Woman in Construction. We're so excited to celebrate you, and we look forward to seeing what you're doing in the future.
Thank you so much, Lori. It's been a pleasure.